Okay, so if you could just start out by just describing Nick's qualities. Like I know him as like very energetic, very hardworking, and I kind of want to focus. It's like have a personality profile. That's what this video
Okay,
is.
yeah.
So
I could agree with you on the energetic sort of aspect. He's a very kind of upbeat guy. He's definitely somebody who's a very hard worker. I think he gets that from his family background. I know his dad worked real hard to become a doctor, and I think that he gets that from that. And he's always just kind of has a positive attitude about most things. I think that's why he's always constantly involved in some sort of project because it's just he wants to be just successful. And that's I think his sort of mindset for success.
right, because he's like super busy. I've noticed that. Like he always seems to be doing something. But he's like the most energetic guy in the room still. So
yeah, for sure.
how do you think he does that? Like how does he have that much energy?
I think I know he said he was drinking coffee for quite a while, but it's a good question. I think it just has to do with just kind of his work ethic, and he's always just been that way. Yeah, and I've always known him as kind of real energetic, and it's hard to say exactly. I would just say that mostly he's just probably just comes from background, just the way his life is. He's just been always kind of an attack his work kind of attitude.
Mm-hmm. Are there any favorite stories that you have about Nick, like from your time knowing him, or any interesting
Good
anecdotes?
Anecdotes about Nick. Let's see. Ones that I can share.
Yeah. It's school appropriate.
He's got a good sense of humor. I'll give him that. That's for sure. He's able to stay pretty positive considering his situation. I'm trying to think off the top of my head right now. I really can't think of anything. Perhaps you've got a story that's good about Nick, but I can't off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, no worries. All right. Anything else you'd like to add about Nick? Maybe something you've learned from him, or
Learned
anything.
from him. I would say that. I think it just ties back to what I said earlier about him. Just he's just a real hard worker, and I think that's what his attitude is, and that's what goes into his work ethic and how he carries himself and goes on.
Well, I think that'll be good.
All right, right on.
Got it rolling right now. So, how do you describe Nick and some of his most noticeable qualities?
Yeah, I would describe Nick as more inquisitive and driven. Those would be the two main things that I would point out with Nick, because I always see him, every time I talk to him, he comes up to me and he's talking about some project that he's working on, or like he'll send me a text like at 2 a.m. of like telling me about something that he just learned from whatever he's working on, or like a picture of a map that he literally like spent weeks tracing out and plotting connections between different things from whatever his project is. Like typically it has to do with like economics, like the sources of different products or stuff like that. And so that's what I've always noticed about Nick.
Cool. And how does he manage to juggle so many things at the same time while still staying enthusiastic and having so much energy?
I don't know for sure, but I know that it has to do with his, he just has an internal drive, and whether that comes from like his family background or like being a Marine, I think he just has this desire to constantly be bettering himself and constantly learn something new every single day, and I think that's what drives him, and I think that's what keeps him going. But other than that, I can't say for sure, like specifically, because I know that like on top of everything else he does academically and like his side projects, he will also like go on like a 40-mile bike ride one day just because he wants to. So I think it's really just an internal drive that he has in him.
Cool. Has there been anything that you've learned from him? Any kind of
Yeah.
Has he inspired you in any way?
Absolutely. I mean, like in general, just talking with him, I always come out inspired, because he tells me about all that he's doing and all that he's learning, and he's so passionate about like what he's learning, typically related to advertising or politics or economics, something like that. And he comes in and sits down, and we'll have it'll be like a couple hour break between classes, and he'll just start diving into this topic and lecturing me for like 2 hours straight on like the evolution of memetics in like politics, and I think that was one of the most interesting conversations we've had, was talking about like the military use of like memetics to influence like the mindset of subcultures in other countries in like the U.S. to like make them think how they want them to think, and like influence wars and stuff like that. So that's one of the most interesting things I've learned from him.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So, has being in the Marines been good for him? It seems like it's a good way for him to harness all of his energy.
I think it is. I can't say much about before he went into the Marines, because I have only known him for about a year and a half now. So, but I would say that the Marine Corps is definitely a good environment for him. And then I think being Reserve Marines is even better, because he has the Marine Corps, and then on top of it, he has all this time on the side to pursue the other passions that he has. And I think that's great for him. And I think he knows it's great for him, because, he obviously makes the most out of his time. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just watch out, because he's going to do something big.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
He's going places.
Yep.
All right.